Good evening. Welcome to the July 16th, 2022 meeting of the zoning, July 20, yeah, look at that, the date's wrong. July 21st, 2022 meeting of the Southampton Town Zoning Board of Appeals. This meeting is being held live and also via video conferencing in accordance with the Town Board's enactment of Local Law 14 of 2022, adopted on May 24th, 2022. Our next meeting and those following will be held in person here at Town Hall and will also continue to allow for remote participation. So we ask you to continually check the town's website for updates and any new information. If you wish to view tonight's live meeting only, please do not join the Zoom meeting and instead go to the town's website. With that, I'd ask that you join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, undivided, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. For those of you here with us tonight, and we have a very small audience tonight, in case of an emergency evacuation, please exit through the rear doors of this room to one of the staircases across the hall and continue downstairs and out through the main entrance. Please do not attempt to use the elevators during an emergency evacuation. In case of a medical emergency, the automated external defibrillator and first aid kit are both located in the hallway on this floor opposite the elevator. Restrooms are located across the hall. We will be starting this meeting with the public hearings. We have applicants and members of the public here with us live and also standing by via Zoom webinar, which is being moderated by CTV. Please silence your cell phones and refrain from speaking to one another in the boardroom as it interferes with the recording equipment. Tonight, we also have board member Helen Burgess participating remotely. Hi, Helen. CTV will mute the speakers on Zoom until it is their time to give testimony before the board. Please be patient. If you find that you are having difficulties accessing the hearings, please visit the town clerk's meeting portal and click on the instructions link. A reminder that applicants, agents, and members of the public speaking, other than attorneys, will be sworn in, will state their address for the record, and will offer their testimony as it relates to the application before the board. We have very few items, well actually, we have a lot of items being adjourned tonight, so we're not limiting the comment to 3 minutes this evening. Unless otherwise stated at the end of each hearing, all of the applications on tonight will remain open for written comments for all purposes until a date to be announced after the hearing. Those comments can be addressed to our Board Secretary, Candace, and sent via email, mail, and/or dropped off at Town Hall. With that, I'd ask for a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Tudhill.
Aye.
Ms. Kern.
Aye.
Mr. Daly.
Aye.
Ms. Burgess.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Minutes are approved. And now we can go on to adjournments.
Okay, item 2 on the agenda is Ivan Peskov. I move to re-advertise that to August 4.
Second.
Okay, it's a re-add, so we don't have to vote on it.
Oh, okay.
Okay, very good. Item 3 on the agenda is Thomas R. Stahecki Living Trust. That has been withdrawn. Item 4 on the agenda, SGM Excavating LLC and Max Masonry Supply Yard LLC. I'll move to adjourn that to our August 18th meeting.
Second.
Mr. Tudhill.
Aye.
Ms. Kern.
Aye.
Mr. Daly.
Aye.
Ms. Burgess.
Aye.
Chair votes aye.
Item 5 on the agenda is 911 Flanders Road LLC. I will move to adjourn that to our October 6th meeting.
Second.
Mr. Tudhill.
Aye.
Mr. Daly.
Aye.
Ms. Burgess.
Aye.
Ms. Kern.
Aye.
Chair votes aye.
And then on the decision calendar, these following decisions will be for 8/4. East Quogue, 535 Realty, Inc., 40 Ocean View Drive, LLC, Scott Schlachter, Janet Zimmerman, Adios Holdings, LLC.
Second.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Okay, then we have another decision in the midst of that mess. Ryan Nivikoff. I'm going to move to reopen that to accept written submissions.
Second.
Mr. Tudhill.
Aye.
Ms. Kern.
Aye.
Mr. Daly.
Aye.
Ms. Burgess. Chair votes aye, reopened.
With the written submissions being accepted, I'll make a motion to close with a determination later this evening.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
All right, that's it. That's
That's
what
it.
I've got. Back to the beginning of the agenda. Item 1 on the agenda, the Paul's Lane Trust, 122 Paul's Lane in Watermill, Suffolk County Tax Map 900-103-2-19. Applicant requests relief from the following provisions of the Town Code for a proposed 55 by 118 tennis court. 1, 330-11 Residence District Table of Dimensional Regulations for an accessory side yard setback of 20 feet where 30 feet is required. And 2, 330-76D, placement of accessory building structures and uses in all districts. And 330-83C yards to allow the proposed tennis court to be located within the required minimum total side yard for the principal building and any other relief necessary.
Court's jurisdiction, Mr. Chair.
Good evening.
Okay.
You can just state your name and address for the record, please.
Susanna Herman and Consultants, 1319 North Sea Road, Southampton.
And do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, you can tell us about the application.
Okay, this is for a tennis court on an existing developed property that has a house, garage, pool, and a small pool house. It's located on wetlands on Paul's Lane. This is not open water, but wetlands associated with Calf Creek. Because of the location of the existing pool house, and because of the location of the wetlands, we're proposing to shift the proposed tennis court to 20 feet from the side yard where 30 feet is required.
Oh, yeah.
Variances have been issued for tennis courts, and I submitted copies of this. You should have it in your file. Across the street on the two lots, basically directly across the street. You should have a copy of this photo as well. The variance was granted at 121 Paul's Lane for a rear yard setback from 30 to 20 feet, and at 135 Paul's Lane, from 30 feet to 15 feet for side and for rear.
Then I just want to, I'm not sure if, we had a bunch of adjournments tonight, so I just want to make sure that if you, that all of you are waiting on a public hearing, it's one we're going to hear. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you have an updated list?
Yep. If it's a 7-Eleven application, it's been adjourned.
It's nice to get that information before you take.
You can always contact Candace. You can always do that.
Email, yeah, I sent one.
Yep.
I always wanted to know.
I didn't mean to interrupt, but I do. Like a half a dozen people walked in.
Take your coat off, stay well.
Okay, well, why don't you go ahead and continue,
Okay.
Susanna? Thank you.
I handed up some photographs, a package. There's a large buffer on the property that encompasses the 75 feet, actually, like 100 feet of the rear of the property if you include the wetlands themselves. And there's an existing retaining wall that covers most of the rear of the yard. The property slopes off quite a bit from Paul's Lane, where the elevation is about 27 feet, down towards the wetlands where you get down to 8 or 9 foot in elevation. So the retaining walls were put in when the property was originally developed around the year 2000. In order to get the tennis court 100 feet back from the wetlands, it puts it very close to the existing pool house. Where we have it proposed is 5 feet from the existing pool house and about 7 feet from the existing house. If we were to shift it to the conforming setback of 30 feet from the property line, then it would get closer to the wetlands. And you can just fit it 100 feet from the wetlands, but that makes it overlap with the pool house. So if you shift it over 10 feet, you can no longer fit it between the pool house and the property line. You would actually have to make an indentation in the side area of the tennis court and sort of wrap the tennis court around the pool house. The property is very well screened from the adjacent property. There's about between 30 and 50 feet of very mature, tall landscaping between the two properties. It's also 129 feet from the road, so it's not going to be impacting visually on anyone.
Is the shrubbery you were just talking about on the other property?
It splits the two properties.
So it's on both sides?
It's on both sides.
Of the property line, okay.
Right. And we're proposing to supplement on our side with additional native vegetation.
Okay.
So in addition to the 75-foot buffer adjacent to the wetlands, we're adding additional native vegetation on the landward side of the existing retaining wall. We're proposing drainage. None of the walls surrounding the tennis court will be more than 4 feet. Everything is, tennis court obviously is relatively flat, but as the property slopes down, it's partially sunken and only very partially elevated. So it's not going to have a visual impact.
Go through that again.
So,
All right, look, I'm looking at the survey, okay.
no, that's okay. So the elevation at the rear towards the wetlands is 18 feet.
Yeah. I
The
see
top of
that.
the wall is 20 feet, so you'd have a little 2-foot rise there.
Okay,
And then on the street side, the elevation there is 25 feet. And then you have a little bit of a drop off where the tennis court is partially sunken.
oh, okay, so in other words, the area closest to the street is more sunken than the
Correct.
area in the back.
They're trying to build it into the property as much as possible.
Uh-huh.
If you look at the photographs that I provided, it's already pretty leveled off with existing retaining walls. This is looking from the wetlands up towards the house and the proposed tennis court location. This is basically where the tennis court would go. It's already retaining wall and flat.
How far is that drop down? It looks like the wetlands is below.
The wetlands is quite a bit below. The wall along the back of the property, from there down, it's about, there's 2 sets of walls. I think each one's about 4 feet. So it's a pretty big drop off. And they've left the back part of the property completely natural.
So can we do a 55 by 110 tennis court?
It says 118.
Yes, it does.
It does.
Yep. 55 by 110 is generally what we do. Most of the time, except pretty extreme circumstances.
The length is not what's,
Why the
What's
extra
called?
8 feet?
well, a full-size court is 120.
Correct. but
Full
when
size,
know
whatever
that.
whatever that
When-
means.
Professional.
Regulation size,
Regulation
what we've
size.
heard,
In a
yeah.
conforming site.
The homeowners are serious tennis players.
Join a club. You know, that's what I tell everybody, join a tennis club.
Right, or find a conforming location, and I don't believe there is one on this property.
There's not. I mean, the only way you could do it conforming would be to wrap it around the
We had another application about 3 or 4 months ago about
Same thing.
tennis, people who wanted to be like,
Professional.
professional, and we had that pitch made, and that,
Athletically
resumes and-
athletically
Yeah, they
inclined
did, they
family.
did.
So we won't provide the resume of the children's
Right,
tennis
exactly.
exploits.
Semi-pro.
Understood. Okay.
Teachers.
I think 55 by 110, and at least for me, I'm okay with that.
I agree.
Yeah. Have you heard from the neighbor adjacent?
No, we've contacted them, we haven't heard back, I don't think they've been out. I think the house to the north is under construction,
Okay.
but we haven't heard anything.
Haven't heard anything. Okay. Well, I guess we'll find out shortly if there's anybody here.
Personally, I, would rather see it moved further back and further left. I mean, if the pool house needs to go or be relocated, that would be, up to them. But in any case, wherever it goes, I'm okay with the side yard because of a technicality, but 55 by 110 would be
Yeah.
the largest that I would consider.
Yeah, and I forgot to ask, rear yard lot coverage, we're good with that?
We're good. We're
Okay.
at 0
0, okay,
because of the wetlands.
okay, good.
You see
we're-
Margie's comments?
Yes, let's ask about that.
Yeah, the
So we
comments are
have,
about having the roof lines, all the roof lines on the
right, so we got
roof
from,
structures under lot coverage.
yeah, survey
Yeah,
shall be
I-
revised to include all roof structures under lot coverage.
5.4%. Is it not?
It may be correct the way it is, I don't know, but if you
I
can
think
reach
she
out to
missed
Marjorie.
it because, well, I can talk to Marjorie, but
Yeah.
we do have existing and proposed roof structures on here, and it's 5.4%. So
Okay.
obviously, we're
Okay.
well
As
within.
long as she's good with it, and if she needs, if the survey needs to be revised, then
But
you just submit.
I don't see the pool house contributing to that.
Maybe
So
that's the
what
issue.
she's talking about.
You're right. It's not there.
That's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I was at the property today, and, it's, I understand the request. I mean, the pool house is not that big. I don't know how dear it is to them, and if they would move that, then there would be a lot less relief here. I'm concerned about the 20 feet, but I know we've granted that in the past, but I don't know if that's an option for them to consider.
To consider relocating the pool house.
Yeah, or just somehow moving it further back and to
The
the
problem is-
to the left.
Even if you
I
move,
mean, moving the pool house back and to the left, is that what you're doing?
even if you were to eliminate the pool house, however,
Yeah.
just shifting it over, you run into the house and the porch or the.
Yeah, on this side, but I think
Yeah.
what he's
If
talking
you don't
about
move
is,
it further back,
yeah.
If you move it closer to the wetlands.
closer to the wetlands,
That's,
it's not horseshoes, so I'm okay with it being closer to the wetlands, but that's just my point. I'm just one person. I don't know how you seem to be okay with the.
I'm okay with it, I'm not sure where other board members are.
I have that was the original sketch, if you want to see what that would look like.
Sure,
This is 30 feet from the property line and 100 feet from the wetlands.
sure.
So
May I
just, do
take that directly?
you want me to,
Oh, yeah, sure. I'll mark, I can see.
you can stamp it in. That's what it would look like. So it's still not great.
It's still right up against the pool house, or you'd have to.
You would
take the pool
have
house
to,
out.
you would have to notch out, which
Right.
I think is a safety concern.
Yeah.
That's if
running-
they kept the pool house.
That's if they kept the pool house.
Right.
If they did that, they would have to move the pool house.
Mhm.
Yeah, I for one would prefer that, but I'm just one vote.
It would be interesting to see if they would consider that, but I think that I would go along with what you're proposing at this point.
Okay.
At 55.
Okay, 55 by
55 by
110.
110, for sure.
Okay,
I'm okay with 55 by 110 in the spot that was laid out.
Yeah, yeah,
okay.
okay. Ellen, do you have any thoughts?
Well, I can understand what Michael has to say, but Susanna, what are you saying in reference to what Michael has said?
That the only way to meet the 30-foot setback from the side yard, the required setback, would be to eliminate the pool house or relocate the pool house to another location.
That's what can you do that?
The problem is you'd move the tennis court closer to the wetlands in order to do that. You can barely do that. Obviously, they don't want to have to move the pool house. That would be a pretty large expense to build a new pool house. I don't think you could move it. You'd be building a new pool house, which is a pretty large expense. So we did talk about that. They have considered that, and they would prefer not to do that.
I think you have the votes for.
I think the location's fine, just the size.
Yep.
So 55 by 110.
Yeah.
And also, the screening you mentioned that was going to go up, a condition that that screening be maintained?
Absolutely.
Okay.
That's, there, it's heavily screened now, and they would definitely want to keep that.
Okay. Well, I know you mentioned that there was going to be some more plantings going in.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so we would just condition on whatever additional screening there is remaining. If some of the screening is over the property line on the adjacent property, then that's neither here nor there. But for on this property, we would just want it maintained.
Suzanne, I wanted to ask you, if you were to go with that first option of moving the tennis court back further and 30 foot, and having to eliminate the pool house, is that a conforming location? Still not a conforming location.
Maybe.
If
My
it were,
concern is they've changed the way that they're looking at required side yards. So we still might need a variance
Okay,
for
because
required side yard.
my question is, if you could find a conforming location, it may be worth it for them to get the 118 in order to eliminate the pool house. It's just an idea.
That would be an option, but I believe.
Correct, Adam? Is that correct?
Yeah, if it's conforming, then they could
It's
build a larger
conforming.
tennis court. But I don't know if going closer to the wetlands is all around a good idea, but
No.
I don't
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it personally, because it puts it right up against that retaining wall.
Yeah, no, I understand, but you know what I'm getting at, if, you know.
Right, and I
okay.
don't
Yeah.
think, I still think we would not be conforming
Okay.
with respect to placing the accessory within the required side yard for the primary.
yeah.
I could be
Okay.
wrong. I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean,
It was
feel-
just an idea.
Yeah.
Sure, no, and feel free
I
to go
mean,
over
they've
this.
considered a lot of ideas and different designs, and this is what they came up with. If we could get this variance, that is what they would like to do.
I mean, my view is unless we have the neighbor opposed, we're talking about, what, 30 feet to 20 feet, in terms of the location
Right, right.
with screening, impact minimal. If the neighbor came in and said, I don't want that, maybe, we would be pushing it further, but
Right.
in my view, absent the neighbor being concerned about
And
it.
the neighbor's
I'm not.
house is shifted towards the far property line, if that matters.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's their driveway and their.
Right.
Right. Right.
All right, it's 55 by 110. Your
Okay.
client wants the pool house.
So you're going to need then to update the survey to, include the
Pool house
pool house
coverage.
in the existing lot coverage.
And deal with it with Marjorie, if there are changes to be made because of Marjorie's comments.
And then to return this at 55 by 110, however you wish to, wherever you wish to take that 8 feet off.
Right.
Okay.
We'd need to see that for an approval.
Oh, yeah, no, we have to have a revised survey.
Oh, I see.
But the 55 by 110 isn't going to change the variance relief. It's still
No,
gonna be
it's
the
just,
same.
it's just going to
But-
change the dimension of it
Yeah.
slightly,
Right,
yeah.
right, it's
Right.
just slightly 8 feet different.
This is the original alternative that
Right.
I showed you. Do you
Yeah.
want that for the file? Okay.
No.
You have to keep it, right?
Yeah,
Now
If
that
it's
you've
stamped,
introduced
Give it
it,
to Mike.
you've got to keep it.
It's now evidence.
yeah.
It's now yours.
Bob.
Yeah, it goes-
Send
That's
down.
going to go in
She
the,
has to
goes in there.
stamp it.
in the who's
Oh, you did?
She did, she stamped it
Well-
on the back.
Stamped on the back.
Should be stamped on the back.
Okay.
It is. We're good.
We're good.
Okay, any other questions from members of the board? Is there anyone from the public who is in the audience who is waiting to be heard in connection with the application of the Paul's Lane Trust? This is for property at 122 Paul's Lane in Watermill. Is there anyone who's waiting to be heard on Zoom in connection with this application? That is the Paul's Lane Trust for 122 Paul's Lane in Watermill. If you're waiting to be heard on Zoom, this would be the time to let us know by raising your hand.
We do have one.
Okay? All right?
Muted. Can you hear me now?
We can hear you, we just can't see you, at least not yet.
Oh, that's okay, you don't need to see me.
Okay,
I just wanted to let you know that the chat was off, so I wasn't able to let you
okay.
know. word
Okay,
for it.
I just have to swear you in. If you can state your name and address for the record?
Okay, it's Richard Stock, 61 Kyle Road, Hampton Bays, New York.
Oh, Richard, I think you're here on a different application. We're here.
am.
We're here.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
I
so-
am, I just wanted to let someone know that there's no chat available, that is just.
Okay, that's fine, Richard, appreciate your letting us know.
Stand by.
Thank you.
You can turn me off.
Okay,
Okay, is that it?
so that's it, there isn't anybody on this application?
Okay.
Okay, if not, Mike?
May I? So,
Yep.
we've been having some issues with getting written submissions in on a timely basis, so do you feel confident that you can get the changes in by 8/5, August 5th?
I do not.
You do not? Okay, so why don't we make it then August 18th,
19th.
August 19th? Yeah,
Yep.
no, because
I'm away the 19th.
surveyors,
No, you
well,
can-
I'm talking about...
This
Oh,
is
just written
this is written
submissions.
submissions.
Okay, yeah, that's fine
So
then.
please have them to us by August 19th.
August 19th, okay.
And then that will allow us to deliver a decision, determination on 9/1. That's not going to be a fun day to be here, but that's when we're going to do it.
But you don't have
First
to be
day of
here.
the
Labor Day weekend.
You don't have to be.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm going to be from Zoom on how,
Okay, do we have a second on the motion?
Second.
19th and 1st.
Mr. Daly?
Aye.
Mr. Macedonio?
Aye.
Mr. Tudhill?
Aye.
Ms. Burgess? We can't hear you, Helen. Ms. Burgess? Aye, I can see you saying aye.
Mouth, aye.
Ms. Kerr?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Thanks so much,
Thank
Susanna.
you.
Have
Have
a
a
good
great
rest of your
night.
night.
All right, next item on the agenda is item 6, 87 Foster Avenue LLC. 87 Foster Avenue in Hampton Bays, Suffolk County Tax Map 900-374-2-6.
Whatever you prefer.
Back.
Another year older, here I am.
Okay, so I don't have to swear you in again if I swore you in before. So maybe you can just give us an update as to where things are?
So this was adjourned to
Yes.
allow somebody to speak who hadn't had a chance to review the application. We presented our case.
I remember.
So I have nothing to add.
I see.
Well, hopefully he's here.
Yeah. Okay. So, I believe,
For the record, we haven't received any written submissions, right?
This was the one with the lawyer that just got,
Yes.
yes, okay. Okay. All right, so,
we are here again.
all right. So, is there anyone who's waiting to be heard on Zoom in connection with the application of 87 Foster Ave LLC for property located at 87 Foster Ave in Hampton Bays?
We have one coming in.
Yep.
Dare I look?
Gotta earn that fee.
Can I be heard?
You can be heard, just have to swear you in, unless you spoke previously. You can state your name and address for the record? Okay, we can sort of see you. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you perfectly.
Okay, good, good. So if you can, unless you're an attorney, if you can just state your name and address for the record, please.
Well, I am an attorney, but that's beside the point. You don't want to know about that.
Okay, well, as long as you're an attorney, then I just don't have to swear you in, but you can
Okay.
tell us your comments.
I'll tell the truth either way.
Yes.
I happen to live down the block.
I'm sorry, we just need your name for the record?
Sure. It is Virginia Futterman, Futterman.
Okay. All right, Virginia.
So I was here last time and heard all the comments that were made and presentation. I live down the block, and I have to tell you, the work done on this home, which is in a very, the location is on a well-traveled road. It is seen by many people going to and from the beach, and quite a few people have made such positive comments that the whole house has brought the neighborhood up. I understand the application is to add a pool. All that does is enhance that property as well as the neighbor's property. So I am here to say, hope you can see a way clear to allow this application to go through.
Okay, very good.
Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Greatly appreciate it. Have a good rest of your night.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else is anyone in the audience who is waiting to be heard in connection with the application of 87 Foster Ave LLC for 87 Foster Avenue in Hampton Bays?
You
Is-
have one more on Zoom.
You have one more on Zoom, okay?
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you,
Okay, great.
but we can't see you, at least not yet.
Okay, yeah, let me fix that somehow here, I think. Just give me 1 second. Okay, there you go. Okay. My name is Frank Backus. I live at 30 Lighthouse Road, Hampton Bays.
Okay, Frank, unless you're an attorney, I have to swear you in. If you can state your name and address, you state your name, state your address, please?
Sure. The name is Frank Backus, B-A-C-K-U-S. The address is 30 Lighthouse Road, Hampton Bays.
And do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you, then give us your comments.
Sure. I just want to say the same thing that Virginia Futterman was just saying. The house is absolutely beautiful. I have no problem at all with them putting in a pool that they are advocating for, and I think it's a great idea.
Okay. Thank you for your
Okay.
comments, greatly appreciate it.
Thank you.
We didn't hear from Alex at all? Okay.
He had his chance
He requested the
to,
adjournment.
He
to
really pushed to get that adjournment, and we were,
review the
when we were
application.
kind enough to do that, because he pushed so hard, and now he's not here. Okay. So that's just how it goes. Any other questions or members of the board?
No.
Okay.
I'm okay with it.
Okay.
fine with
If not, Helen, it is yours.
Having visited, having visited this property on several occasions, I see that there is no other place on the property to put this pool. I have no problem with this application. We will close the public hearing, keep it open for written submissions to August 5th with a decision on August 18th.
Second.
Ms. Burgess.
Aye.
Mr. Daly.
Aye.
Ms. Kern.
Aye.
Mr. Macedonio.
Aye.
Mr. Tudhill.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. You have a question about something? That's it.
Telling me to keep my mouth shut.
Yeah, we
All right.
are good to
Quick
go.
while you're ahead.
Thank you so much. Have a good rest of your night.
Thank you.
All right, thanks for coming back.
Thanks for your
Yep,
patience.
and thank you for coming back a second time.
Indulging the process.
Yes,
Yeah.
I hope
Yep.
some of the traffic is lightened up.
I hope so, too.
It was bad.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It looked terrible. I was going the other way.
It was
Yeah.
a storm west that we turned black.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, item 7 on the agenda is Richard F. Stott, 61 Kyle Road, in Hampton Bays, Suffolk County Tax Map 900-268-2-31. It's held over from our 7/7 meeting.
It was, and Richard is on the Zoom, I believe. Yep.
We adjourned this, didn't we?
We did.
We need to-
Something.
Something already.
Yep.
Now I'm better.
Hey there.
Hi, Richard.
Hi.
Hi. So we were on, I believe, on the 7th, and I guess you were going to be updating us?
Yes.
Okay. All right. And I previously swore you in the last time?
Yes, we did.
Okay.
Yeah, and tonight too.
Okay. So if you're going to give us an update?
The last time it was just held over, and I don't even remember why, but
I'll tell you why.
Okay.
we're looking at a modification to a previously granted variance because I had made a mistake. My
Right.
computer layer shifted on my site
Right.
plan.
Right, right.
And I need 9.4 feet instead of 10.3 3 feet, I think it was. And that mistake has been corrected and verified by the surveyor, and I hope you guys can understand that shit happens. And layers on my computer was the reason for that.
That's a good one,
I
Richard.
want to make sure it's right before I proceed with my permit drawings.
But I'm sorry, Candace is gonna,
Cornelius, go.
Candelius is gonna tell us why it was.
Nine.
So so it was held over to tonight because my notice to Richard had July 21st. Although he put July 7th in his notice and the advertisement said July 7th, the poster said the 7th. Katie suggested as procedure, just in case anyone saw the 21st, they would have the opportunity. That's it.
Got it.
But I think we could vote on a decision tonight
If no one.
if
shows.
there is no objection and if the
Correct.
board is.
And I have an amended decision ready.
Okay.
Okay, so, but before we do that, I want to ask if, is there anyone from the audience who is waiting to be heard this evening in connection with the application of Stott for property located at 61 Kyle Road in Hampton Bays? Is there anyone else who is waiting to be heard on Zoom in connection with the application of Stott for property located at 61 Kyle Road in Hampton Bays? If you're waiting to be heard on Zoom, this would be the time to let us know by raising your hand. Okay. Then I have an amended decision. In the matter of the application of Richard F. Stott, 61 Kyle Road, Hampton Bays, New York, Suffolk County Tax Map Number 900-268-231. On October 7, 2021, by decision number D021112, this board granted relief for the following. 1, setback relief for a proposed covered porch. 2, setback relief for a proposed covered, looks like a typo, it's covered porch twice. So I think maybe just once. And pyramid relief, I'm just trying to see if it's any different. Pyramid relief for a proposed roof renovation to the east side of the existing dwelling. By letter dated May 16, 2022, the applicant requested that the decision be modified to indicate a principal minimum side yard setback of 9.4 feet instead of 10.66 feet granted for the proposed addition to the west side of the dwelling. The request was advertised, and notices were posted and mailed in accordance with the town code. At the public hearings on the request, applicant Rick Stott testified that there was a measurement error on his part, and that when the surveyor went out to the premises, the setback was in fact 9.4 feet and not 10.66 feet. There was no opposition to this request. This board finds that the modified proposal passes the standards set forth in New York State Town Law and the Southampton Town Code as articulated in its previous decision. Therefore, the ZBA decision number D021112 is hereby modified to grant relief from Town Code Section 330-115D1 continuance for a principal minimum side yard setback of 9.4 feet, 9 feet 4 3/4 inches at the closest point of the addition northwest corner, where 12.8 feet is permitted, and a principal total side yard setback of 21 feet, which is 9 4 3/4 plus 12 feet by 9.5 feet, or 9 feet, I guess 9.5 feet, where 32 feet is permitted for a proposed addition on the west side of the dwelling as shown in the site plan, page S100, last dated July 20th, 2022, and pyramid sketch, page A200, last dated July 19th, 2022, prepared by Richard F. Stott, architect for Stott Architecture. Granted, the foregoing relief is subject to such other conditions and permits as applicant has already acquired or may otherwise have to acquire for final approval of the subject premises. All other provisions and conditions of decision number D021112 remain in full force and effect.
Second.
Mr. Daly.
Aye.
Ms. Kern.
Aye.
Ms. Burgess.
Aye.
Mr. Macedonio.
Aye.
Mr. Tudhill.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. You're all set.
You're all set. Richard.
Richard, greatly appreciate your patience with all this.
Oh, thank you very much,
Nope.
and have a good evening.
No problem. You as well.
Take care of
Take
your
care.
shift.
Okay, item 8 on the agenda is Beach Properties, Inc. This is a modification request. 25 Shinnecock Road in East Quogue, Suffolk County Tax Map 900-384-3-54. You need to read this thing? Yes, okay. On September 15, 2011, by decision number D012929, this board granted a pyramid variance in the amount of 1,699 cubic feet, and a rear yard setback of 30 feet to 23 feet for the construction of a two-story dwelling. By letter dated June 27th, 2022, the applicant is requesting a modification of said decision due to a change in the design of the dwelling. The modification variance relief being requested for a proposed two-story dwelling is as follows. 330-84D pyramid height for a proposed encroachment in the amount of 364.2 cubic feet, 222.6 cubic feet on the north side, 141.6 cubic feet on the south side, and 330-11 Residence District's Table of Dimensional Regulations for a principal rear yard setback of 24.7 feet plus or minus where 30 feet is required.
Board's jurisdiction, Mr. Chairman.
Good evening. I just have to swear you both in unless either of you are attorneys. Okay. If not, you can just state your names and addresses.
James Sayage, 20 Rock Hill Lane, Scarsdale, New York.
Okay, and sir?
Joseph Giamalvo, 36 Shinnecock Road, East Quogue.
And do you both swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
I do.
Just spell your last name?
GIA, double M as in Mike, AL, V as in Victor, O.
Thank you.
Okay, so you can tell us about this modification request.
As well said, the original variance was granted. The owners, being James, never built the house for a lot of different reasons. Decided to now build the house with a different architect, and they made the house smaller, which made the encroachments less. And we're requesting a modification. It came to my attention afterwards that they changed the house via the building inspector.
Building inspector.
Okay.
He basically said, this isn't the house that was originally granted a permit, a building permit, and you need to get you need to come in front of the board, and
Yep.
see if you would approve the smaller,
Smaller house with less relief. Well,
yeah.
We like that.
it's all good. It's all
Yeah.
good when we get that.
I don't have a
Less
problem.
less relief is good.
We could go?
Yeah, so things happen and circumstances change, and so as a result, you're looking for, reduced amount of relief. Do we have everything we need in terms of the documents that were submitted? I'm hoping so. We have pyramid sketch, we have new survey,
Yes,
and the prior variance.
yes.
So, anyway, I don't think this should be a difficult one for us. However, have to ask, are there any questions of members of the board?
So what is the difference between what was granted and what's being asked for now?
The
It's
number
over
one,
1,000 cubic feet less.
Less.
In pyramid.
In pyramid relief?
Encroaching into the pyramid.
Okay.
The previous variance was like 1,600 cubic feet, and this one is, as stated, 300 and some odd cubic.
So basically, most of the pyramid relief is gone.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Yeah.
And I have a copy of the,
Yeah, right, and we got that.
What's the new,
this is the one
new
that's
pyramid sketch.
proposed.
got it.
the older house is just a little bit more square on the top.
Yep, yep. Okay,
Okay.
all right. All right, so, anybody out there? So is there anyone from the audience who is waiting to be heard this evening in connection with the application of Beach Properties, Inc. for property located at 25 Shinnecock Road in East Quogue? Is there anyone who is waiting to be heard on Zoom in connection with the application of Beach Properties, Inc. for property located at 25 Shinnecock Road in East Quogue? If you are waiting to be heard on Zoom, this will be the time to let us know by raising your hand. No hands. If not,
Okay.
Keith, this one's yours.
Motion to close, and I guess we'll leave it open for written submissions to
Yep.
8/5 with a determination on 8/18.
Second.
Okay?
Okay.
818, it goes to the owners. They
On
get-
818, we vote.
8/18.
Oh, you vote.
We vote.
Yeah, we vote on 8/18.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
And you don't have to be here for our vote.
Okay.
Yep. All
And
right.
then it goes to the building inspector, and we can,
You'll get the variance after it's filed, you'll
Candace
you'll
will
get.
still be your friend.
Candace will be sending you the variance, and then you go from there with the deal with the building department to move forward with
She
your
is to everybody.
thank you for your time.
It'll be issued that night, and
Just
then
make it easy, just call me on the
8/18,
19th, I'll let you
we'll
know.
issue the decision, vote on it, and
Yeah.
it'll get filed, so she'll have it right after that.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Thank you for your time.
Usually the
Thank you.
following, Monday is when, yeah, okay?
Thank you.
Right, no problem, okay. So,
Thank you.
Mr. Tudhill,
Aye.
Mr. Daly,
Aye.
Mr. Macedonio,
Aye.
Ms. Burgess,
Hi.
Ms. Kern,
Aye.
chair votes aye. Decisions.
Decisions.
7:11.
It's 7 o'clock.
I was anticipating 7:11 tonight. I didn't-
Yeah.
May I start with 1737 in the matter of 1737 Millstone Road LLC,
Sure.
1737 Millstone Road, Noyak, New York, SCTM 900-13-1-72.2. The applicant, there was testimony on this matter. It was, Ms. Ringwood testified that the lot was part of Laurel Woods,
Summary.
and that
I'll do 'em.
the required access is a functional front yard for the premises, and they would like to develop the lot accordingly. This board finds that the benefit to the applicant outweighs perceived detriment to the neighborhood. And although it was a type 2 action, requires no environmental review. Therefore, and for the aforementioned reasons, this board grants relief from Town Code 330-11 for a principal rear yard setback of 62 feet where 100 is required. For structures shown on the survey prepared by Colonial Surveying PC, last revised January 18th, 2022, initialed by Joseph Secafico, land surveyor, January 28th, 2022, and the floor plans and elevations prepared by Stephen Rossetti, architect, last date is September 26, 2021. Grant of the foregoing relief is subject to any other conditions and permits as applicant has already acquired or may otherwise have to acquire for final approval of the subject premises.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Mr. Daly?
Aye.
Ms. Kern?
Aye.
Ms. Burgess?
Hi.
Mr. Macedonio?
Aye.
Mr. Tudhill?
Aye.
Chair votes aye.
Okay, second one is, I'm going to be reading a summary of 1240 Ocean Road LLC, Suffolk County Tax Map Number 900-134-4-29.9. This application is for the property located at 1240 Ocean Road, Bridgehampton. The applicant requests variances in connection with an as-built foundation, proposed dwelling, pool house, and a swimming pool on a corner lot in an R60 zoning district, and AE 14, AE 15 flood zone. Applicant maintains that the proposal is consistent with the character of the neighborhood and that the variances for the proposed dwelling minor in nature. Opposition to the application asserts that the proposal is excessive and doesn't pass the standards as set forth in New York State Town Law and the Southampton Town Code. In order to grant the variance relief requested, the zoning board shall take into consideration the benefit to the applicant if the variance is granted as weighed against the detriment to the health, safety, and welfare of the neighborhood or community by such grant. Furthermore, the applicant must demonstrate pursuant to 330-166C of the Town Code that the proposed variances meet the standards set forth in that section, as well as the standards set forth in 267B of New York State Town Law. As it relates to the variances requested for the existing foundation proposed dwelling, the board finds that such standards have not been met. While this board has in the past granted variances for as-built structures, and recognizes that a self-created hardship alone is not sufficient to deny a variance here, the benefits to the applicant in granting the variance does not outweigh the detriment to the character of the neighborhood. The subject premise is a conforming lot made larger than was initially created by an earlier subdivision and was granted previous variances by this board for both a tennis court and additions to the existing dwelling. Testimony and evidence was submitted to indicate that a conforming building envelope exists for a two-story dwelling as of right, with no evidence submitted that there are topography, wetlands, or other challenges to the construction of the dwelling that necessitates relief, other than the surveyor's error and the applicant's initial construction that proceeded without the benefit of a building permit. For these reasons, this board finds that, as it relates to the proposed dwelling, applicant has alternatives and a conforming location to construct the dwelling that requires no variances, and those must be pursued. With respect to the proposed pool house and swimming pool variances, this board does find that the standards for granting variances have been met. This board finds that the benefit to the applicant outweighs any detriment to the neighborhood, and that the granting of their variances for the accessory structures will not cause an undesirable change in the character of the neighborhood or create a detriment to nearby properties. A review of the aerial photographs reveals accessory structures throughout the neighborhood, and here the premises boast robust screening, which the applicant has agreed to maintain in perpetuity, making it virtually impossible to see the structures from the road. Likewise, the neighbors in opposition to the application are not in close proximity to the proposed accessory structures, and the property across the street most likely impacted, which is the Beach Club, has improvements quite a distance away and across a buffer. This board finds that the relief sought by applicant cannot be achieved by some method feasible for the applicant to pursue, other than area variances, as the lot is burdened by 2 front yards and a variance for an existing tennis court that they seek to maintain. This board finds that the variances are not substantial and will not have an adverse effect or impact on the physical or environmental conditions within the neighborhood, as the proposed action is a Type 2 under seeker. Lastly, this board finds that there is no self-created hardship as it relates to the accessory structures, and is ever cognizant of the fact that a self-created hardship in and of itself is not a legal basis to deny the requested relief. As such, this board denies the variance requested as they relate to the existing foundation proposed dwelling, and finds that any dwelling proposed shall comply with all provisions of the town code, including but not limited to setbacks, parking, pyramid, and height. However, this board does grant the following variances for the proposed swimming pool: relief from Town Code 330-11 for an accessory distance of street setback, front yard of 42 feet where 90 feet is required, and Town Code 330-76D, placement of accessory buildings, structures, and uses in all districts, and Town Code 330-83C, yards, to allow the proposed swimming pool to be located within the required front yard for the principal building, and for the proposed accessory building pool house, Town Code 330-11 for an accessory distance from street setback front yard of 40 feet where 90 feet is required, and 330-76D, and Town Code 330-83C, to allow the proposed accessory building, which is the pool house, to be located within the required front yard for the principal building. These variances are granted for the proposed pool and pool house as shown on the survey presented by Stephen Borilski, LS, last revised February 4th, 2022. The grant of this relief is subject to other such conditions and permits as applicant has already acquired or may otherwise have to acquire for final approval of the subject premises, including the submittal of a revised survey and plans reflecting the code-compliant dwelling and associated parking prior to the issuance of a building permit for the proposed pool and pool house. The grant of this relief is conditioned upon the applicant and all subsequent owners of the premise maintaining the existing privet hedge surrounding the entire premises. Do we have a second?
Second.
Mr. Daly?
Aye.
Ms. Burgess?
Aye.
Mr. Macedonio?
Aye.
Mr. Tuthill?
Aye.
Ms. Kern?
No.
Chair votes no as well, and just for the record, I think it should be denied across the board, and that's the reason for my no vote.
Mine also.
Yep. Okay.
I mean, if I could just make a comment, I understand that, and I thought that in aggregate, it was a very aggressive application for relief, and I think that we need to pay attention to applications for relief that come in that had previously received relief, because sometimes we look at this incremental relief that's
Right.
being asked for and don't recognize that it's relief on top of relief on top of relief. And I'm going to be more aware of that in future applications. And so, there we go.
All right. I have a determination, unless someone else wants to go next. Okay. All right, I have a determination on matter of the application of Farrell CIT Buildco LLC for property located at 201 Jobs Lane in Bridgehampton, tax map number 900-134-232. I will read the relief at the end. The subject premises, I indicated the address and the tax map number. It is 65,403 square feet in the R80 zoning district, and it has a pre-existing CO dated October 19, 2021, type 2 pursuant to SECRA. Testimony at the public hearing from Kimberly Judd, attorney for the applicant, stated that the applicant proposes to demolish pre-existing structures on the premises, redevelop the lot, and seek variances in connection with a proposed spa and 55 by 110 sunken tennis court. Ms. Judd explained that the premises is a corner lot and thus is constrained. Further, Ms. Judd noted that the applicant is demolishing 2 existing barns that are in non-conforming locations and thus improving the premises and moving towards conformity. She also added that there is an existing hedge line on the eastern property line that would screen the tennis court from the property to the east. Ms. Judd reminded the board that it routinely grants variances on corner lots and submitted other decisions from the board evidencing same. After discussions with the board regarding the percentage of the rear yard lot coverage proposed at 42.11%, the applicant reconfigured the tennis court, shifting it closer to the street and requiring a front yard setback of 47.7 feet in order to reduce the rear yard lot coverage to 29.83%. There was no opposition to the application. This application passes the 5-part test. Therefore, this board grants the following relief. Relief from 33011, Residential Districts Table of Dimensional Regulations for a proposed front yard setback of 82.4 feet where 90 feet is required for a proposed spa. Relief from 33011, Residential Table of Dimensional Regulations for a proposed front yard setback of 47.9 feet where 90 feet is required for a proposed 55 by 110 sunken tennis court. 3, relief from Town Code 33077D for a proposed rear yard lot coverage of 29.83% where a maximum of 20% is permitted for a proposed sunken tennis court. And 4, Town Code 33076D and 33083C, that is placement of accessory building structures and uses in all districts and yards, to allow the proposed sunken tennis court to be located within the required front yard for the principal dwelling. All is shown on the survey prepared by Stephen Barilski, last revised June 6, 2022. The granting of the foregoing relief is subject to such other conditions and permits as applicant has already acquired or may otherwise have to acquire for final approval of the subject premises.
Second.
Mr. Macedonio.
Aye.
Mr. Tudhill.
Aye.
Ms. Burgess.
Aye.
Ms. Kern.
Aye.
Mr. Daly.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Don't be shy.
I have a decision in the matter of the application of 192 Hampton Bays Realty LLC, 192 West Montauk Highway in Hampton Bays, New York, Suffolk County Tax Map 900-221-3-17. Applicant requests relief from the following provisions of the Town Code for a proposed dual-pole freestanding sign. 1, Town Code 330-205B2, freestanding signs including pole and monument signs for a proposed front yard setback of 6 feet where 20 feet is required, and Town Code 330-210.1B, design guidance to allow 4 colors to be used where a maximum of 3 colors is permitted. It passes the 5-part test. Therefore, this board grants relief from the following provisions of the Town Code for a proposed dual-pole freestanding sign, Town Code 330-205B2, freestanding signs including pole and monument signs for a proposed front yard setback of 6 feet where 20 feet is required in Town Code 330-210.1B, design guidance to allow 4 colors to be used where a maximum of 3 colors is permitted, as shown on the signage plan prepared by Mark Pilata, engineer, last dated May 25, 2022. The grant of these variances to the conditions of such other permits as the applicant has heretofore acquired and may otherwise be necessary.
Second.
Mr. Tudhill.
Aye.
Mr. Macedonio.
Aye.
Ms. Burgess.
No.
Mr. Daly.
No.
Ms. Kern.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Next.
Bob, do you want to go?
Yeah, I'll go.
Go ahead.
In the matter of the application of Ryan Nipikoff, 678 Halsey Lane, Bridgehampton, New York, 900-104-1-24.1. Applicant requests relief from the following provisions of the Town Code for a proposed accessory building that is a one-story studio with a finished basement. In Town Code Section 330-76D and Town Code 330-83C to allow the proposed accessory building to be located within the total required side yard for a principal building, and Town Code 330-83C to allow roof overage of the accessory building to be 3.3 feet with a maximum of 18 inches is permitted. The subject premises is located at 678 Halsey Lane in the hamlet of Bridgehampton, town of Southampton. The property is identified on the Suffolk County Tax Map as 900-104-1-24.1 is approximately 82,844 square feet. The parcel is located in R80 zoning district. Applicant at this hearing on this matter, architect Eric Peterson, testified on behalf of the applicant that he seeks variances to construct a one-story accessory structure to be used as a studio with a finished basement. Mr. Peterson testified that the structure complies with all setbacks but is located within the total required side yard for the principal building. Mr. Peterson noted that the premises backs up to an agricultural reserve and will not have any impact on the character of the neighborhood. Mr. Peterson also testified the roof overage is not discernible, and the property located at 671 Halsey Lane also has an accessory structure in a similar location.
Second.
Therefore,
Done?
therefore, this board grants relief the following
read the
provisions of
rest.
Town Code and proposed accessory building that is a one-story studio with finished basement, Town Code Section 330-76D,
It's Bob's very first decision being
and
read. I want
Town
you to know
Code
that, Keith.
330-83C to allow the proposed accessory building to be located within the required side yard for the principal building, and Town Code Section 330-83C to allow the roof overage of the accessory building to be 3.3 feet where a maximum of 18 inches is permitted. The granting of this relief is subject to such other conditions and permits as the applicant has already acquired or may otherwise have to acquire for final approval of the subject premises, including the legalization of the pergola with the outdoor kitchen and the second outdoor shower by the pool house prior to the issuance of any certificates of the proposed accessory building.
Second.
Mr. Macedonio.
Aye.
Mr. Tudhill.
Aye.
Ms. Burgess.
Aye.
Ms. Kern.
Aye.
Mr. Daly. Chair votes aye.
That was my first one.
It was. Excellent.
Did a great job.
Great job.
All right, I'm sorry. Candace is interrupting us, yeah.
Before you do Kadaris, I need you to do a reopen to accept the submissions. I forgot to mention that at the beginning.
Oh, for Kadaris?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
I'd like to move to reopen the Kadaris application for acceptance of submissions.
Okay. Ms. Kern.
Aye.
Mr. Daly.
Aye.
Ms. Burgess.
Aye.
Mr. Macedonio.
Aye.
Mr. Tudhill.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Reopened.
And now I'd like to close the submissions
Yep.
And
For decision.
for decision.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Okay, now I'd like to read the decision. All right, Keith?
Convenient.
I'm going on this one.
Okay.
I'm going. All right. In the matter of the application of Nicholas and Luz Cardaris at 30 Laurel Lane, Sag Harbor, tax map number 900-26-1-86, and I will read the relief at the end. Subject premises previously received 2 area variances, granting front yard setback of 29 feet and rear yard setback of 23 feet. At the hearing, applicant's builder, William Gorman, appeared to explain how construction was completed before receiving building permits and variance relief. This board, however, finds that the benefit to the applicant of granting the variances outweighs the detriment to the health, safety, and welfare of the neighborhood, And it further finds that the granting of the variance meets the five-part test under Town Code and New York State law, in that there'll be no undesirable change producing the character of the neighborhood. The benefit sought is minimal, as the property is undersized lot with a narrow depth and a limited building envelope. And then, and while this property actually was physically already built, the variance request was self-created, but construction done without benefit of a building permit or variance relief. Such construction was minimal, and a self-created hardship in and of itself is not a legal basis to deny the requested relief. Therefore, the board grants relief from the following. 1, Town Code Section 330-11, Residence Districts Table of Dimensional Regulations, to allow a front yard setback of 56.8 feet where 110 feet is required for a one-story pool house. 2, Town Code Section 330-11, Residence District Table of Dimensional Regulations, to allow a front yard setback of 23.5 feet where 100 feet is required for the front roof overhang of the dwelling. 3, Town Code Section 330-11, Residence Districts Table of Dimensional Regulations, to allow a front yard setback of 30 feet where 100 feet is required for the addition located on the east side of the dwelling. 4, Town Code Section 330-11, Residence Districts Table of Dimensional Regulations, to allow a front yard setback of 31.7 feet where 100 feet is required for the addition located on the west side of the dwelling. And 5, Town Code Section 330-11, Residence Districts Table of Dimensional Regulations, to allow a front yard setback of 34.7 feet where 110 feet is required for the in-ground pool, all as shown on the updated survey prepared by Colonial Surveying PC dated November 24, 2021, last revised June 15, 2022, and further conditioned upon the proposed revegetation plan provided by John Verderbeer, dated March 24, 2022, and incorporated herein. In addition, as noted in the building inspector's July 12, 2022 memorandum, 1, applicant's plans shall be revised to show the pool house without an attached porch. 2, applicant shall address the Aquifer Protection Overlay District clearing issues with the Town Planning Division pursuant to Town Code Section 330-67. And 3, the side of the cellar entrance facing the street shall be screened as required under Town Code Section 330-83C.
Second.
Okay.
Ms. Kern.
Aye.
Mr. Macedonio.
Aye.
Ms. Burgess.
No,
Mr. Tudhill.
Aye.
Mr. Daly.
No.
Chair votes aye. I think that's it.
That's it.
This is the shortest we've ever had.
It is.
Motion to close.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.